I'm headed up to Red River in a couple of days to do a little bit of gravel riding, and I'd really like to create a loop. It would be nice to incorporate Questa, where I'm staying, and Red River, and have it mostly be gravel. So forest roads are going to be nice. Let me show you how I go about creating a gravel biking route. The first thing we do is start looking at the layout of the land all around Red River. Red River sits kind of in the shadow of Wheeler Peak in a big canyon. Here's Wheeler Peak, here's Red River, here's the canyon between Red River and Questa. And all of this south of Red River seems to be oriented to drainages surrounding Wheeler. I don't really see anything that looks like I can create a loop. Most roads go up these canyons, but nothing connects. But if we start looking to the north of Red River, there's this drainage, Cabresto Creek, Cabresto Canyon, which runs all the way north of Red River from Questa to just behind Red River. And maybe there's some roads in this area that would allow a connection for a loop. Maybe if we just simply start by throwing in a route and see what happens, we can go from there. So I'll put a starting point here in Questa, have it follow this road, Cabresto Canyon, and have it pop out to Red River and see what it does. And it indeed connects using bicycle routing. Let's back that up and change it to car routing and see if that improves it or changes the outcome. If I change the routing to routing for cars, I'll at least know that RWGPS is trying to route it on forest roads. So let's give that a try. And it creates a route. This looks a lot like a route that I did a few years ago. You can see looking at this route routed for cars that it's nice and smooth, simply climbs all the way up Cabresto Canyon and then quickly descends back to Red River. I went back through a bunch of my old route files and I did find that I did do something similar on this route a few years ago, starting in Questa, climbing up Cabresto Canyon, and then descending down to Red River and then returning on the highway. Let's take this route and modify it so that we're not doing the exact same ride and we're getting some more exploration. I think I'd kind of like to still keep the concept of starting in Questa and using the highway, using Cabresto Canyon, but just extend the route somewhere up into this area. Zooming into this area, it kind of looks like Cabresto Canyon still has a road that goes up it around this Greeny Peak. And from Red River, it looks like there's some roads that come up and climb around Greeny Peak also and connect back in this Anderson Park area. Let's turn on edit mode and see what we can do here. I see I got some control points that are here on this route. We probably want to eliminate this one or at least to move it back a little bit. And we probably want to keep this one here. But we want to grab this one. It's the only remaining one between the two. Grab this one and move it back here behind Greeny Peak and see what happens. I'm not so sure that I still like that idea of repeating what I did a couple years ago. So let's simply just reverse this route and climb the steep section. Okay, that looks better. So what we're left with is a route where I start in Questa, take the highway to Red River, get on the dirt, and then climb this steep section up to 10,850 feet. That's a lot of climbing in 6 miles-ish, 5 miles-ish, but I'm up for the challenge. And it extends the route to something where there's a lot more exploration. And let me just add a little out and back for more exploration up in this Anderson Park area. So what we do is just add a couple of control points so that we can create an out and back in the Anderson Park area. I'll leave this one here. I'll add one here, and then I'll grab the route and extend it what looks up and back on what looks like this main, oh, it's not a main road here. You could see when I tried to extend it to this road, it didn't like it at all. And you know why that is? It looks like there might be some private land right here. Let me go to satellite view and see what we come up with. Switching to satellite mode, you can see this is where the private land is, and I'm not sure who might own that, but it looks to be fairly flat. There's just not a road that connects from here to here. Maybe I'll just ride out there and see. For now, what I'm going to do is force the route to jump across. So we're in line drawing mode, which basically forces the route to go where there's not a road. So staying in line drawing mode, we're just going to force the route to go past that area. My Garmin's going to tell me that I'm off route when I get out there, but it's just going to remind me that this is the weird area that I wanted to explore a little bit. Okay, so let's take a look at this and see what we got, see if it's going to make sense. We're going to start in Questa, ride up the highway, and in Red River, where it turns to dirt, we're going to climb steeply for 5 miles from Red River at 8,600 feet up to 10,000, almost 11,000 feet here in 6 miles. And then we're going to spend some time up at the 10,000 foot level, working our way towards Anderson Park and with an exploration out and back in this area. And then turn around, drop down into Cabresto Canyon, and then looks like we have about a 20-mile descent back into Questa. So let's go ride it. I'm going to name the route Questa, Red River, Agrini, Abresto, and it's gravel cycling. We're going to keep it public and save it. Just a bit of a side note, I did notice that there's this place called the La Belle Ghost Town out here. So I just added a few extra miles so that I can get out there and see if that's something I might be able to get to on the bicycle. The next thing I do is I import that entire GPX file into Gaia, and Gaia is my backup that works without cell phone service. So I'll have that with me also.